If you missed yesterday, I'm doing something new with just this month since I am joined by my co-host and cohort in crime, Krif.
Long days and pleasant nights, people.
So he's my other half on the Bard and Krif vlogs that has a few out, links in the description, or check out some of my old RCVs. So how this is setting up is that we'll be talking analysis during the recappy bits. So, massive spoilers are massive this month. In the morning, Elder Jonas and his big coffin hunters find Susan sleeping in an old hut.
Like a stall where you would keep a horse in the middle if it was raining or something.
She won't betray her love, so they get violent. And then they take her back to town.
After slapping her around a bit.
Which, oddly enough, no rape.
No.
With Jonas also taking the grapefruit from Rhea of the Coos.
See, the thing with it is, Rhea refuses to give it up because she's become glamored by it. The grapefruit, what they don't really explain in the comics, feeds off of your life essence every time you use it. So, it feeds off of Rhea's life essence, and she believes she needs to keep it and keep viewing through it because that's the trick it's playing on her mind. She doesn't realize she's wasting away. So, she tries to fight Eldred over it, and he shoots her in the head.
In the bushes, Shimi watches. Elsewhere, later on, when it's kind of dark out...
It's supposed to be that middling twilight right before dawn.
Okay, it's the middling twilight before dawn. Elsewhere, Roland, Cuthbert, and Elaine spring their assault on Jonas and Farson's army. They stealth kill some fools, with the slingshot, as well as this cool knife, because, let's be honest, Roland and a knife is awesome. Elaine, not so much with the good knife throwing.
No, Elaine is not good at throwing knives.
And then they have to go full press raw killing. Not raw killings, mind you, raw killing. I don't think most people would get that joke.
No.
And boy, do they do a mess of killing. Plus, Cuthbert gets this really great DePape thing, bringing up the...
Yeah, remember when you threatened to kill me and you had your friend come up behind me? Well, this is my revenge.
And he gets shot in the head, because everyone got their guns now. Then, Jonas and Roland square off. High noon style. But Roland is a badass...
It's high noon.
Oh, Christ. I was hoping we'd be able to get through this without one McCready.
Oh, there's gonna be more.
Or McCree, not McCready. So anyways, Roland's a badass and does the whole quick draw on Jonas thing that I like how it's framed in the book. But again, I think action works better in the comic, whereas the connection works better in...
Right.
So, now they have the grapefruit. And Elaine actually gets a freaking machine gun.
Which leads in the book to my favorite line of dialogue between Elaine and Cuthbert, but is left out of the comic.
Which one?
Where Elaine literally picks it up and says, I don't know how to use it. Cuthbert looks at him and goes, it's a gun. Point and pull the trigger.
Elaine really does get the short end, even in the...
Right, but it also not only... We'll get into that in a little bit.
Yeah, we'll talk...
Trust me, there's a big gripe I have that I haven't brought up to even you yet.
So now that they have that, there's no stopping their momentum as they go to Sitco, and Elaine blasts the hell out of Latigo's guys. Yeah, this is where we really see this as more of a frontal assault than...
But it's not even a full frontal assault.
Yeah, it's more of just a hazing, so that way they can get the people to chase them into Eyebolt Canyon, where they decide that the Thinny gets to kill everyone.
The thing that they missed out with earlier is Elaine has heard of a trick that would help with the Thinny trying to pry into their mind, which is stick some bullets in your ears. And the lead helps block out the mind controlling bits, which is what the boys do to be able to watch from above and not want to swan dive into the canyon.
And they win. Yet, the grapefruit calls to Roland. He grabs it and it shows him his love, his heart, Susan, burning at the Chayu tree. That's the end of this miniseries, which actually I would have been kind of pissed. Like if I was following, 2007 rolled around and this came out.
Yeah, you bought each one of them, on release day and you were excited for the next one and you needed more, and then they leave you hanging with it.
What'd you think about this miniseries?
A lot of it really good. Really good art. Like when the art is really good, it's good. It's really good. When it's bad though, it's really bad. There are some really, really bad facial drawings.
Yeah.
Like we said, there's the bad landscapes. It can be real bad sometimes. There were some times when they would draw Cuthbert is the biggest, victim of this.
Oh yeah, I think
there were times when he and Shimi were almost unable to be told apart. Because they had the same pretty much face drawn and they're obviously not the same character and it's bad. I mean, it's definitely, even if you don't know anything about the books, it's definitely worth a read, though. Because it isolates one part of one of the books and gives you the full story.
in Cliff Notes version,
Right,
but
it,
still
it gives you a truncated version of the story, but it is a full story.
like, technically, if they only did, this, they didn't actually hit the main Dark Tower series.
Yeah, like, if this itself was, like, a standalone comic, different characters, not taken from the Stephen King universe, it would be a very solid comic series. It'd be a very, very solid miniseries.
But because for you, it's...
But with me knowing everything I do and having read these books 40, 50 times...
It's going to be the same problem you have with the Dark Tower movie. It's a direct adaptation, but there's going to
have to be parts that are left out from the later movies. If they're starting with the Gunslinger book 1, I can very easily see them doing it because that's like 185 pages.
Yeah, that's...
it's not that long.
And that is actually something really good that we can talk about, because this is an adaptation of Wizard and Glass, the fourth book. So it literally turns around and goes, because you and several other people I've talked to dislike...
Wizard and Glass is the hardest read because at that point you are met with the characters of Roland, Jake, Eddie, Susanna, and those are the characters you're following. You meet these characters, you've been following all 4 of them for at least 2 books now. Roland you meet in the first one, Jake you meet in the first one, Eddie and Susanna you meet in the second one.
And Jake you meet in the second one.
That Jake gets reintroduced in the second one. So, you're building a story with these characters. You're following them, It's like watching a TV show, for example. You start at season 1, you get to meet all the characters. Some go away, some come back, you meet new ones. Now imagine if you just jumped in season 5. My view for Wizard and Glass, had they not focused on where they did with Meiji, had they focused more on Roland...
And the Fall of Gilead.
Not even the Fall of Gilead. Expanded out his training, expanded out his manhood test, finished it up with a short summary of Hambry. Because there is a lot of fluff. There's a lot that you don't need to know. You can tell
that reading Wizard and Glass, you can tell that Stephen King really didn't know where he was going. That's why he decided that now it's time for a prequel. And I'm actually glad that this is where they start before in the comics.
My thing with this, it's the same problem I have with this comic. It tries to focus on too many characters that you don't know anything about. There's a lot about Cuthbert, there's a lot about Elaine, Susan, Eldred, the mayor, Susan's aunt, who isn't even in this, Rhea.
I think she's in one scene.
The other coffin hunters, Shimi. As bad as this is going to sound, there's some random Mexican guy who's part of Latigo's army who we follow around when Latigo's army actually gets there. I can't remember his name and it's going to kill me, but we follow him around. I think it's like Gonzalez or something. And he's in like a good 40 pages. Like, it focuses on too many characters. It tries to give you too much. That's why I think if they had gone further back and showed how Court trains the boys,
have the first issue be Court's training.
Have us focus on Roland and introduce us to people like Cuthbert and Elaine, and then have this continue on where we know a bit about those characters. Yeah. Because reading through this, Elaine seems like an idiot.
Oh, yeah, that's...
And what they don't tell you that they flesh out a little more in the books is that Elaine is very book smart. The dude can read something and recite it to you, no matter what. He'll memorize any textbook, He's very intelligent when it comes to books. He's not very street smart or socially,
He's an introvert.
And Cuthbert, yes, he jokes around a lot. He has fun. But even he has, that side, that serious side.
And that is actually something I disliked about this.
Which they don't show.
Yeah, they don't show Cuthbert being, like, the only time is when you get the, in the saloon where he's, you can't do that.
Like, that is your first, he jokes around a little bit with them at first, but the moment that...
It becomes
serious. The moment that gun touches the back of his head, something in him changes. He goes from, haha, I'm Cuthbert, la 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 la, I swear to God, if he pulls that trigger, you'll be dead before you even realize what happened.
Yeah.
He becomes a gunslinger. And that's the problem with this. As much as I want to love this, because it gives me more that the book left out.
That's my problem with this, is that unlike the rest, like Long Road Home, Fall of Gilead, especially Fall of Gilead, Battle of Jericho, when we get there, is that this isn't adding to the story. It's the Cliff Notes to get us to...
Right, but it gives you different ways to focus on other people.
Right.
It gives you, okay, well, we're not going to have 40 pages of this guy we're going to see for these 40 pages, and then he's going to literally be shot in the back of the head, which is another factor that I really wish they had in this. It's because gunslingers have a code of honor. Not only
that is something that never comes up, because, like, it says that he's, Jonas is a failed gunslinger, but there's never really a gauge to go, okay, this is why being a gunslinger is good, or this is why...
Right, but like the thing of it is, that guy who gets shot in the back of the head by Cuthbert literally goes up to him and, he asks his forgiveness. Because, again, it's that sense of honor, it's that sense of morality. There is a part in the next series, The Long Road Home, that kind of brings that up a little bit. Not a lot, but a very little bit. It's like a panel. It's literally one text box and a panel. That's all it is.
Is that the wolf one?
It's with the wolves, yeah.
Because I remember, this had to be way back.
It's when Cuthbert can't find his gun and grabs Roland's.
Yeah.
They give you a taste of what that is, but they don't elaborate on it.
And I actually think that's what I like about... We'll get into Long Road Home in a little bit,
yeah,
but...
but the thing of it is, gunslingers are very honor-bound. They're all about their honor. It's one of the highest things that they hold. But I believe we've rambled on for just about 30 minutes.
Only 21, not counting editing. Honestly, I would definitely say that it is, it's worth reading.
It is. It's a better read if you haven't touched the books.
Yeah, I would definitely say so.
This should be your big introduction to the Dark Tower and all of its universes.
Come back tomorrow where me and Krif continues to palaver on this adaptation with The Long Road Home.